This is by far the most requested video that I've got on my channel. So this is a tier list of all of the studio monitors under $1,000 per pair, which is like beginner to intermediate price point, that I have personally used over the course of the 20 years that I've been working in audio. So let's put a bunch of stuff in categories. All right, before we dive in, let's go ahead and define our terms. So of course, at the very top, we've got God tier because welcome to YouTube. It's just how it works over here. Right below that, it's excellent, but with footnotes. I want to tell you exactly why the speakers that fall into this category did not quite get pushed up into that God tier category. And then good enough, right below that, of course, which, let's be honest, your speakers are probably good enough. And then below that, my personal favorite category, your excuses are valid. You know how everybody likes to say, it's not the gear, it's the ears, man. I agree with that sentiment, by the way. I'm not criticizing that sentiment, but like it does have its limitations. And to be totally honest, if your speakers are continuously lying to you, how can you trust your ears at that point? Your excuses might be valid. Okay, and then below that, we've got, don't you dare, John. Listen, I know a few Johns, and they better not dare. So let's go ahead and dive in. Actually, real quick, let's get serious. You and I do not have the same ears. That should go without saying, but I'm still going to say it because, listen, these tier list videos tend to ruffle some feathers, and that's totally fine. I welcome the comments and criticisms down below. But if you disagree with what I'm saying, that's great. That's wonderful news because that sounds like we're going to make different sounding music, and I think that's wonderful. So let's just have some fun, shall we? Okay, KRK Rockits, that highlighter yellow woofer cone that's going on with those. You can see those coming from a mile away. I'm going to put them into the your excuses are valid, in my personal opinion. I just never really got along with these speakers. I could not get them to translate. I could not really get the clarity out of them that I wanted to get. They have this situation where they sound just a little bit scooped. I did own a pair for a grand total of about 2 weeks, and I just decided that I could not get along with them very well. And so I actually returned them, ended up buying another set of speakers that we're going to talk about here in a bit. I have known some people in the mixing and mastering world that will actually keep these speakers with them, even though they've upgraded to like, you know, a $2,000 set of Barefoots or something like that. They'll have these right next to it for reference because they know them so well. But that's just not me. I don't have that experience. I never really could get to know them or understand them. And from what I've heard from people that I respect, they actually take a minute to get used to. So I just didn't have the patience for that learning curve. All right, moving on. These are the Kali Audio, the IN series, the IN5s, IN8s. I'm going to lump them together. I think you can get a pair of IN8s right now for $1,000, and we're going to just put that right there, God tier. In my opinion, these are the king of translation at the price point. So for a set of speakers under $1,000, I don't think you're going to find anything that's going to translate better. A lot of the criticisms that I've heard with these speakers, I agree are valid. I use these as my main set of monitors for about a year, mixed plenty of songs. I did a lot of editing for film and video with these monitors. I really like these monitors. I think they translate incredibly well. The low end, although it does extend down super low, like way lower than I thought it would, it does get a little bit smeared and a little bit muddy below 90, 80 hertz, somewhere in there. The one thing I will say is the low end actually kind of cleaned up whenever I cranked it up a little bit, which is great, but the offset of that is ear fatigue. So it's like, they're great monitors. They translate really well. The low end sure can be a little bit muddy, but it does clean up when you crank them. So yeah, it's just this giant list of pros and cons, but they're amazing. They really are. I don't think that you can really get a better set of speakers until you're spending maybe $1,700, $1,800 for a pair. Honestly, they're really good. They are that good. So God tier. All right. Focal or Focal Alpha series. This is like the 50. I think they also have the 80, 70, 60. I don't remember which ones, but these are good enough. In my experience, the clarity and detail and nuance is there with these speakers, but I did not really get them to translate super well for me. It was one of those things where I created a mix and I was like, man, this mix sounds great. I really like it. And then I bounced it out and I was listening in the car and I was like, what was I on? Because the low end is out of control. The mids are not really all crisp and clear, and I didn't have like that instrument separation that I was going for. They're fun for tracking, but for mixing, I would probably choose a different set of monitors, or at least if you have a set of these, they're great, they're good, they're going to do you fine. It's nice to have that clarity and detail. Just get another set for reference. Oh, wonderful segue. Okay, so next up, the Avantone Gauss 7s. I have a pair of these on my desk, and I have them on my desk for a reason. I did a review of these speakers that were sent to me by Avantone, and so if you want to check that out, please do. They have since told me that I am actually free to keep these, which is fantastic. I did not think that that was going to be the case. I thought I was going to have to send them back. But these speakers... Okay, I'm going to put them in good enough. Okay, we're going to kind of think about it two ways. I'm going to put them in good enough right now. If these are your first set of monitors, they're good enough. They will do the job. You'll get to know them. You'll probably love them. The mid-range is really pronounced. The high end has a lot of clarity and detail and nuance, and it is very present. Those ribbon tweeters definitely work. They're really good for mixed translation, and for clarity, depending on the frequency range that you're operating in, they can be really good. The low end can get a little deceptive, which, what are you expecting? They are 7-inch monitor woofer cones, and it's rear ported. They do extend way lower into the low end than I really expected, but yeah, for mixed translation, especially for the mids and the highs, they're great. For clarity, detail, nuance, they are maybe not as great, but still, for the price that you pay, not bad at all. Right now, and even this picture has it, they've got a sale going on. So for the Gauss 7s, you also get a free baby RAM monitor switcher and controller. It's almost as if Avantone understands that these are a really great set of second monitors, that they're actually willing to give you the monitor switcher that comes with it for free. That's actually kind of a great deal. So yeah, if you do end up getting a pair of these monitors, maybe pairing them up with another set of monitors. Honestly, the two right next to each other, the focals, I never know how to pronounce that, and the Gauss might be a really good like pair to have just right next to each other. Okay, moving on. The JBL, the 3 series. These things look like a tuxedo. Oh gosh, they're another one. They're in between good enough and your excuses are valid. For listening, they're really enjoyable. They sound really nice, but they do have some deceptions. Oof, I'm going to put them in your excuses are valid. They do have a deceptive low end, of course, and everything else about them, it's like, yeah, it makes your mix sound good, but that's not always what you want. You want brutal honesty in monitors, and these speakers are not brutally honest. They're telling you things that you like to hear. That's not always the most helpful thing to have around. What a wonderful metaphor. Okay, moving on. Atom Audio T7 series, or the T series, the T7Vs, T5Vs, T8Vs. I've used the T5 and the T7s, and I'm going to put them right up here. Excellent, but with footnotes. Clarity, detail, nuance, check. They're great. I love the high end of those Atom ribbon tweeters. I think that Atom really nails the ribbon tweeters. They're fantastic in this category. I think that it's hard to get a better deal until you're spending just a little bit more money and you go to the Kali, the IN8s or the IN5s or what have you. Translation, it's like a 7 out of 10, but detail, nuance, and clarity, it's like a 8.5 or 9 out of 10. Like, they are really good. If you're doing a lot of like voiceover or a lot of stuff with film, I think these would be a really awesome option. In fact, I actually had a podcast studio when I was in Texas, and we kept a pair of the T7Vs in that studio, even though I had another set of monitors in my like main studio area. And we kept them in there because it was really awesome to hear what you had done right after you'd recorded. And I even mixed most of the episodes of that podcast in that room. So T7Vs, excellent, but with footnotes. Low end can be a little deceptive. Translation's not the best. Pair them with a sub and things get a lot better. All right. Yamaha, the HS series. Again, you can recognize that white cone from a mile away. Oh, man. For me, I'm going to put them in good enough. For a lot of other people, they'd put them up here. I'm going to put them in good enough. The reason why, there is a learning curve. I had the HS7s. I've heard the HS5s, and I've heard the HS8s, but I had the HS7s. There is this thing that happens with the Yamahas where it's like the mid-range, somewhere in the mid-range, right where the crossover starts to fall off. So it's like where the woofer frequencies kind of start to fall off and where the tweeter starts to kick in. There's some distortion smearing. It can get a little choppy in there. And unfortunately, that is where a lot of your mix lives. However, I will say this, there's a lot of people that use these monitors and get to know them super well, and they will take them from session to session, even though the studio has much better monitors that they have in the studio. They'll bring their Yamaha HS series because they know them so well. I think they're a useful tool. And honestly, if you get to know them, which again, it takes some time, you have to get to know them. You got to understand how they act with all these different frequencies. But once you get to know them, they can translate really well. But before you get to know them, it can be a little daunting. Okay. Oh, here's a fun one. Okay. iLouds. These you would think are like Bluetooth speakers and nothing more. Like someone would just have them on their desk just to listen to their computer music or something. But no, these things are massively underrated. Massively underrated. Okay, so this is the iLoud Micro. I'm going to put it all the way up here. Excellent with footnotes. If it's the MTM, which is like one step above this, it goes straight into God tier. I'm not even kidding. You wouldn't think that like a small monitor that's like hard shell with a really tiny woofer would really be all that useful for you. Mixed translation, 9.5 out of 10. They translate super, super well. It's crazy. They give you a lot of detail, clarity, and nuance. I did not expect those things to be near what they are. And I think a big part of it is because they give you a little reference microphone and it will send a spike through your room. So it'll do this like weird, like thing. And like when you hear it, you're like, I don't know what's happening. Aliens are landing. But like what it's doing is it's actually tuning the monitors specifically to your room, which I think is pretty cool. And I think we're going to see a lot more of that in the future. I think we've already started to see a lot more of that with like Sonar Works and stuff. But these things are killer monitors. I think that they actually should probably charge a little bit more than they do for them, to be honest. Check them out. They're super cool. If you have a really good set of monitors and you're looking for a second set, strongly recommend. They're so good. Okay, Avantone Mix Cubes. God tier. And again, they are God tier for what they are. So I need to put that little caveat. So in that case, it might be excellent with footnotes, but no, for the tool that it is, and they're very specific about what it is that tool is intended for, God tier. These things tell you what your mid-range is doing. And I'm sure you've heard people say this before, the mix is in the mid-range. It's entirely true. If you can get that really like 500 to about 4K, 5K, if you can get that to all play nicely, And you can have the guitars kind of plant their flag in this area, and the vocals have this nice space that they can sit in, and this instrument takes up this space over here. Your mix will translate really well. And the mix cubes will cut out all the noise, and they'll take that super extended frequency range, and they're just going to shrink it down so that you can really just focus on exactly what it is that you're doing. And the thing that's so interesting about this too is a lot of people are like, oh, well, you could just put like a high pass and a low pass filter on your like mix bus and do that the same way. Yeah, sort of, but there is something special and magical about speakers that are just designed to give you just that in and of themselves. I think these are fantastic. I could not recommend them higher. Again, right with the iLouds, they are just a fantastic like second set of monitors for reference. And because they are entirely honest about what they are, they're not trying to be your, you can hear everything from 4 hertz all the way to 48,000 kilohertz, which no one can ever hear that high. I think that's actually in the frequency of light, 48,000 kilohertz, because kilo already means 1,000. So I can't even do the math on that. Anyways, they're not trying to pretend to be that do everything monitor. They're like, no, we're going to show you what your mid-range is. And they do that really well. So they are the guy that will never lie to you. And that's a good friend to have.
Worthless steaming pile of cow dung!
All right, Kali Audio, the LP6s. Oh, we're just going to put them right here. Excellent with footnotes. Why are they not in God tier? Because the IN5s are what actually is in God tier. The IN5s translate better. They give you a little bit more clarity, a little bit more detail in the mid-range. The LP6s are good. They are a really good set of monitors. If you are buying your first set of monitors and you have a somewhat limited budget, the Kali Audio LP6s or the Atom Audio T7Vs are going to be my strongest recommendations for you. They are so good. So good. You cannot go wrong. Again, Kali Audio did something with the speakers. Black magic. They're great. They're great. Okay. Presonus. People are telling me that I say that wrong. Presonus. The Eris. Did I say that wrong? Is it Eris? Eris? I don't know. Okay. Yeah, they're in between again. This is another one of those. I'm going to put it in... God, they're so cheap. And for how inexpensive they are, you'd be surprised with how good they sound. But at the same time, they do have some deception to them. And I would put them right there at the kind of like same level as the JBLs. I couldn't necessarily, in good faith, put them above the JBLs. So I'm going to keep them in. Your excuses are valid. But they are so inexpensive, which is... kind of one of the big draws to them. So it's like the 6.5 or the 8 that they make. Like, if that's your only set of monitors, like, you're probably doing okay. You just got to get to know them, learn the deceptions. I've heard them a handful of times. I haven't ever really gotten to know them super, super well, but I actually, there's a guy that I follow on TikTok who has a studio in North Dakota. It might be North Dakota, maybe South Dakota, but he has a set of the Eris monitors, and he says that they're great and he loves them. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe take that guy's word over mine. Okay, last but not least, these are the Mackie. I think they're like the HR something. I'll have to remember these. These were the monitors that were at my school when I went to Audio Pro Tools school back in the day. Most of the rooms had these like Mackie HR8s or whatever they were. Are we going to have any speakers that are Don't You Dare, John? Okay, I'm just going to burn the Mackies. Yeah, I don't like those speakers. I just never did. They're a little mushy, a little gushy. You can't really tell what's going on the low end. There's a lot of deceptions that happen in the mid-range. It can sound a little bit scooped from time to time. And when I say scooped, I mean like they're like carving out certain frequencies in certain places that you're like, oh, I need to push up that like 4K because I can't seem to get the clarity out of the guitar that I want. And so you push it up and you push it up and you push it up. And then finally you've got the guitar sounding how you want in your speakers. But then you bounce it out and you listen in the car and it's just like, psh, and you're like, what have I done? Never got them to translate. Never really liked their clarity. Not my favorite speakers in the world. So, God, I can't do it. I don't think any speakers on this list are in the don't you dare, John. Yeah, we're going to put them in your excuses are valid. Listen, if you're getting good results out of any of these 4 set of speakers down here, that's great. You have the hearing of a fruit bat, because I could not work with these personally. In my experience, that is not what works well for me. Okay, let's go through the list and make adjustments here, because I do reserve the right to change things. I wouldn't change a single thing. I think, the focals might be excellent with footnotes, but the translation, though. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to stick with this. This is a nice little stair-step pattern. So last time it made a nice middle finger. Before that, we made a pyramid. Now we're, on a little stair-step situation. I'm confident in this tier list. Let's lock it in. Listen, if you like all these videos, please press the buttons that are down below. You know how the internet works. The more you press the buttons, the more my face will show up on your internet. And so if you want to see more of that, you know what to do. It also helps me out substantially when you subscribe, so don't be shy. I post about twice a week these days, so if you want to see more content like that, please subscribe. And if you're interested in any of the monitors, I will post links down below. These are affiliate links. They do give me a little bit of a kickback. If you want to support the channel, the best thing you could do if you're thinking about buying a set of monitors is to use those links that's down below. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next one.